Okay, so we're back. We're going to talk about a topic called backsolving. Backsolving. And Chris, if you could read the first bullet point on page number 13. Like picking numbers, backsolving allows you to plug numbers into the problem. And in this case, the numbers are already in the answer choices. So Chris, what does that mean? That's right. With the other questions we were doing with picking numbers, that we were working with variables. In this case, you can use something called backsolving if you're working with integers. So Craig, if you could read the second bullet point. You can backsolve when there are integers present in the answer choices. So Craig, just like we were saying, when we have integers in the answers, we'll use backsolving. When we have variables in the answer, we'll use picking numbers. And Nathaniel, read the next point. For most questions, start backsolving with the middle answer choice, either C or H. So okay, Nathaniel, so starting with the middle choice. All right, thank you for reading that. So usually you have A, B, C, D, E as your answer choices, or you have F, G, H, J, and K as your answer choices, as we have in our problem that we'll do in a moment. So backsolving is where you start with the middle one, A, B, C. You start with C, or in some cases this will be called H. Start with the middle one, and then you backsolve. If this one's too high, you get rid of all the higher ones, C, D, E, or if this one's too low, you get rid of all the lower ones, C, B, A. So let's keep reading. Joe, if the middle answer is incorrect, you can usually eliminate two more answer choices simply by determining whether the value you're looking for is higher or lower than the answer you solved for. So all right, that's a way of saying, this one's too high, then you get rid of the higher choices. This one's too low, you get rid of the lower choices. That saves you a lot of time on test day. More points, and time means more points in the ACT test. Because if you can immediately eliminate half the choices, then you're more than halfway home, and you're correctly solve that question and move on and rake up a bunch of choices, a bunch of points by getting rid of a bunch of choices. So let's continue. Michael? So, in some cases, you start with an answer choice other than C and H. And keep reading, Michael. If the question asks for the smallest possible value, start with answer choice blank. Okay, so what do you think, Michael? If you're looking for the smallest answer, what would you start with? The smallest number, right? Exactly. So you'd start with, A or F. It's going to be the smallest one, and then you'd work your way up. Okay, and then Chris, read the second part of that. If the question asks for the largest possible number, start with the answer choice, which is what? If you're looking for the largest, you'll probably start with the largest number. Exactly, the largest number. So usually you pick the one in the middle. But if you're looking for the largest number, start with the largest. If you're looking for the smallest, start with the smallest. Okay, so with that in mind, let's start with question number 1. Craig, if you could read that question. A group of 30 tourists paid a total of $240 admission to a museum exhibit. If the admission price for each adult was $10, the admission price for each child was $5, how many adults were admitted to the exhibit? Okay, so let's set up the problem. Okay, so Chris, what does the problem tell us? It's a group of 30 tourists, right? So it's a group of 30 tourists, and adults cost what? $10. Children cost what? $5. And the total they paid was what? $240, right? $240. Okay, so we're going to backsolve. So we're going to start with the middle question, the middle selection of the question. Middle one is H here. Nathaniel, what's the middle one? 20. Okay, so we'll plug 20. So 20 times 10 is, and if we got 20 adults and we have a total number of tourists, that leaves 10 kids. So 10 times 5 is 50. So 250, does that equal 240? No, it doesn't. Okay, so we know that H is not right. It's a little bit too much money. But that's great. That's great because that saves us a lot of time. And remember how? Because now we can get rid of H because we just solved for that. We know that's not it. Now we can get rid of J and K, the larger numbers, and we've instantly blown away half the choices, and we're down to the 2 that it could be. So the next step, we'll jump over to the next lowest one, which is G, 18. So if this one is, instead of 20, so okay, so Joe, help me out on this. What is, if we're going to plug in the numbers? G is what? Is 18. Okay. So 18 times 10 is what? 180. Okay. If we use 18 adults, that means to come up with 30, we have how many children? 12. 12 times 50 is what? 60 bucks. So 180 plus 60 is 240. That's our answer we seek. So G is the answer. So great. So in just two quick steps, we've solved the answer, and we can move on, take those points, and move on to the next question. So Backsolve will save you a lot of time, and on a time test like the ACT, it's going to get you a lot more points. So we'll see you on the next item, which will be variable manipulation. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.